That's better. Look, that's doing something. It has almost like a bloom effect to it. It looks like an eye. It really is something else. Right, we are back, and guess what? We could have a brand new way to create incredible art with resin. So I was just scrolling through on a different platform, as you do, and a scientific scientist lady, Kim, I think her name was, popped up with an experiment video using PVA glue in a coaster. And what she was doing was dripping food colouring onto the PVA glue and then introducing a small tiny droplet of dish soap, and it created these really amazing effects. Now, you know my brain. I'm now thinking, could we do this with resin and alcohol inks? So we are going to give it a try. Hopefully we get some really nice new results. I'm going to be using the collab resin, Let's Resin Daniel Cooper, myself resin for this, best for the Petri. And we are going to be using the Let's Resin 26 ink alcohol ink set. As always, links in the description with discount codes. Okay, my resin is mixed and poured. I've put some black card down just so you can see it a little bit better. So I've got 2 ovals and a heart, and I've gone with 2 round ones because I want to see how it behaves in a perfectly round piece. So in this small mixing cup here, I've just got some dish soap, washing up liquid, whatever you want to call it, wherever you are. So I don't know how to do this because Kim, in her experiment with the PVA glue, obviously didn't have a white sinker like we do for the Petri effect. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 2 colours for the first one, a purplish red and a sapphire blue. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I think what I do is add a drop of colour, drop of sinker, and then do the dish soap. Now, I don't really want to be putting lots of dish soap in this because it's going to add to the resin and probably sink and blob. So I'm only going to try and just touch the surface and see what happens. Let's take you down. And as always, in my Sinker White bottle is just the Let's Resin C Deeper, which you get 2 bottles of in the 26 ink set. Okay, so a drop of blue. Hopefully these drop where I want them to go. Sometimes they drop off the side of the bottle. Come on. It's going to spread the way it normally does. Then I'm going to take my Sinker White and add a drop to the center. I really hope this works, guys. So that is that. Now for the dish soap. Do I add it now or do I wait for that to come back inwards? I'm going to add it now and just see what happens. Just touching the surface of the soap. Might not even do anything. Just. Maybe I need a little bit more. I don't know. It's really hard. I'm going to have to try and zoom in. It's only just, it's not doing what Kim's did in her video. I don't know whether I need to wait a bit longer. I'm just going to go in with the purplish red. This time, I'm not going to add the sinker. I just want to see how it reacts with just the ink on its own. See if it pushes it a little bit more. So just a touch. That's better. Look, that's doing something. It's working better because there's less resistance because of the pigment in the Sinker White. But then that's not going to do much of a Petri effect. Let's go in with another blue. Let's try the sinker again. Just see if it reacts different a second time round. As always, massive shout out to my channel members, anyone who's bought me a coffee or a super thanks, and to all my subscribers. We've just hit 126k now. We are flying through the 100Ks. It's doing something very interesting on the outside. I don't know whether you can see that. I've never seen that before. I don't know whether it has to be the dish soap, because I've not seen that effect before. It's not really doing anything when it comes into contact with the white. Let's go in with a yellow. I don't want to use colours that are going to muddy. I don't know how it's going to react if it merges with the purplish red though. And let's push that out. It's almost like what silicone oil does. See, that's not pushing out now. Maybe I need to add more. Try not to knock it into the resin. That would help. Yeah, it's not really pushing that now, is it? Yeah, it has almost like a bloom effect to it. It looks like an eye. It could be I'll tell you what, that could be a very interesting eyeball. If I was to leave it like that and then add a black somehow. But then I don't know what it looks like on the other side. Should we leave it? It's changing shape now. It's not going to be perfectly round for a pupil. I think I'm going to leave that one. Because you're probably shouting at the screen, leave it, Dan. Leave it. Right, let's pick some different colours. Yeah, it's definitely changing. Right, so this is a magenta. If it wants to come out. There we go. And I'm going to go with a cerulean with this one. I'm not going to add my sinker straight away this time. I'm just going to push the colours out, hopefully. That's not even moving. Okay. Let's add the sinker, because that will push that colour out anyway, hopefully. Try again with the dish soap. Maybe I'm just not using enough. Like I said, I don't want to introduce too much. There we go. Too much in there, because I don't want it to ruin the piece. And plus, it has a water content. I've lost my stick. I've just dropped my stick now. Here's a new one. I think these colours aren't going to work very well together. Dish soap. See, now it's not pushing it. It's definitely not doing what it was on the first one. Look at that. So could it depend on the colours? I don't see how, but there's a chance. It's not expanding. Okay, sapphire blue. That really did push out well. It's really going to muddy. It's trying. It's not really doing it on this one. Why, guys? Why? Why is this not working now? I think I'm going to have to abandon that one. It's not doing what I want it to do, which is a shame. Okay, let's move on to the heart. Sorry for the squeaking. I must oil my camera arm. Now, what I've just seen with the light reflection, you can't see it on camera, is that this one's not full. It's not completely full. So that could be an issue. I think that could be where this second oval went wrong as well, because there's slightly less resin in that. So what happens is that when you add your inks, they drift inwards. Okay, so we had a really good start with the sapphire blue. So let's try that again first and see whether it spreads out better again. Dish soap. It's not doing it. Strange. Okay. We could have another bad attempt here. It's almost like, I don't know. It's just not pushing out. See? Is it because the resin has already kind of formed a skin? It couldn't have. I'm baffled. Right, let's try some different colours around it, because I don't want just a blob of colour in the middle of the resin. So that's not spreading now. Ooh, it's not going the way I wanted it to go. Okay, I'm just hoping the flat ones work better, because there's not going to be any kind of dip around the sides of the resin. There's not a lot I can do with that. I might just play around with those off camera and just add more colours, but it's not looking promising. But this one is looking incredible from the back. Here it goes. Sapphire blue. Please do something in this one. Please. Where did I put the dish soap? There it is. So it's not even staying round. I'm wondering whether the dish soap has made a film on the surface, so I've just given it a good stir. No! Why did that first one work so well, but now it's not? It's not doing anything. I'm going to put some fresh dish soap in a different cup and see what happens. Okay. Is this going to do anything? No. This is not looking good. Let's add some white. I don't know what's going on. How it could rapidly change from one piece to the next straight away. I just don't get it. Right. Let's see if this makes a difference. Could it be that my studio is too cold and the resin's cooled down too quick? I don't know. It's not doing it. Why? There's like no change. So far, this is a bit of a fail, because it's too random. I mean, I can't say this is something that could be new, because it's worked on one, but it hasn't worked on the other 4. So that's going to mean lots of wasted resin with people trying this and attempting it and it not going the same way that my first one did. Right, let's try a bigger blob of dish soap and just see what happens. It's not even scattering now. Oh, I don't know. Why can't they all look like that first one? I'm determined to get something going here. Absolutely nothing. That is so strange. Okay, I'm just going to have to drop my inks and just make some normal Petri, I think. Whether it's done anything different underneath, I very much doubt it. I think it's just going to be the same as normal, apart from that first one. So, I'm going to have a think off camera. And back to this one. It really is something else. You can see these bands just below the surface. Almost like an agate effect, looking at it. But again, we can't see the underneath, so I don't know how that's going to turn out. So, yeah, I don't know whether to try and thin the soap down because this is really thick. So I've just added some water to that. Resin and water is not really a good idea. But if I'm just touching the surface and we're not mixing it in, should be okay. And let's just try and touch. It's not really doing anything. Oh, that one kind of is now, but not the same. We're just going to end up with a nice little pocket of water on the surface. Back to the drawing board, I think. So for the ones that didn't work, the same as the first one, I've got some silicone oil here. And we know from previous experiments that this does a similar thing. So just a dab on the surface. Whether it's going to today, guys, I don't know. There you go. So maybe the silicone oil is just the way to go, not dish soap. See the way that's pushed out those colours? Much better. So at least we're going to have some interesting results. And a comparison at the end. See how that's almost fractal like. So I'm going to just carry on the experiment so it's not wasted. Just try and push these other ones out a little bit better. And we can get some crazy results. Let's go in with a yellow. This is already going to be very, very muddy. Let's add a sinker to that yellow because it's just sitting on top of the oil. There we go. Another drop of the oil. I'm not going to stir these and keep them as they are. So yeah, I'm just going to repeat different layering with the silicone oil in the ones that didn't work. Okay, so I actually really like this one. It has a really natural flower look to it. So I don't know whether I'm going to stir or just try and draw in, similar to what we do with the bloom, in a short amount of time, and just try and define maybe some of these outside petals, because it does really look like a real flower. But I'm definitely not touching this one. Okay, it's time to see what we've got. I'm really happy this one has stayed. It's almost like a jellyfish, isn't it? It's crazy. I decided not to do anything with this one here. I left that one. The only ones that I stirred were these big round ones. So I think we're going to start with those. Just remember, if you're using silicone oil, you are going to be left with an oily residue that you need to clean off afterwards. These were just silicone oil, so these are going to be pretty much the same as normal Petri. It's really nice. Not the best of molds. I could always dome that if I wanted to. Okay, so this comment here, I mean, things like this used to really bother me, but it's just amusing now. But what I'm gonna do is on that video, I'm going to pin that comment to the top, so you can go and have a little play around with this viewer. I don't know who they are, just a random person thinks it's okay to mock the way people speak. So go and have a little play about with that comment. It would be quite comical to see what you write. I got some muddying in the center there. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, as always, give the video a thumbs up, drop me a comment. If you haven't subbed, hit that button for me. It is free. We are flying through the 100Ks. The 100K. Right. Yeah, and a massive shout out to all my channel members and subscribers. Getting tongue-tied. Let's go with this one here. Again, this one was silicone oil. You can see the residue on the back. It does clean off really easy. Now that reminds me of coral. You've got like a coral reef at the bottom. You've got the blue water. That is stunning. That really is stunning. I like that. Partial Petri at its finest. I'm definitely leaving this one till last. I think this one was just this shape. I could be wrong. I don't know, there is some oil on the back. I think some of them I might have done both. Okay, it's very muddied. It's very dull. But it's very different. Very, very different. I don't dislike it at all. I really like it. But the thing is, I could never recreate anything like this again. Ever. Now, is this one going to be a showstopper? It's just so random the way that this worked with this piece, but not the others. I really was hoping that I could kind of replicate it across all of the pieces. I'm not quite sure what happened. I'm going to have to do some more experimenting off camera. Look at that. Right, let's see. Now that, that's crazy. It's almost like an eye. It's like a jellyfish. A black kind of, because the colour is quite translucent. I couldn't go with a black background on that. I'm not sure about a white. Yeah, I think a white background could work better if I wanted to. But it was just a play around. I'm loving these areas around the outside. That is simply stunning, and I could never do that again if I tried. That's crazy. Do I prefer the back to the front though? I don't know. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that little experiment. Sorry it wasn't anything that I think we could use to replicate or do again. I don't know. Let me know what you think about why it didn't work in the other ones, but it did in this one. It's kind of strange, isn't it? Anyway, I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now. Have fun with that.